Hey everyone, today we're going to do another fun experiment with our eggs and see, how do chicks breathe? We know that in our eggs, the fat part is where our air cell is. But how does the air get in there? And how, when the chicks breathe, where does their carbon dioxide go? So just like chicks, we breathe air. So we breathe air in and we exhale carbon dioxide. But where does that go for our baby chicks? Because they're in an egg. So we've got our food coloring. That's just the box, but we've got our food coloring. And we've got our eggs. So I've got a bunch of hard-boiled eggs. And we're going to take our food coloring and put it on some of our eggs. So we'll drop some different colors. And I've already done a few because it takes a few minutes. We've got to let them sit for a few minutes. So I've done a few, but show you how we do it. So we just drop it all over our egg. And then we will let our egg sit. So I've got some different colors on there and we'll let it sit. So eggs are our chicks are in their shells. So they can't just breathe in air like we do. When we are babies and we're with our mothers, they have to breathe for us, and that's how we get our air. And then when we're born, we get to take our first breath of air. Well, for chicks or reptiles or anything that's born in an egg first, they have to breathe inside the egg. So that's why they have their air cell. But how does the air get in there? So through this experiment, we'll see, is there a crack in our eggs? Does the food coloring seep in somehow, through a crack or through, some other way? So that's what we're going to test. So we'll let our eggs sit. And while they're doing that, we'll go ahead and check on our incubator and see how our eggs are doing. And we'll check on our plastic embryo development and see what our embryos might look like today. So our incubator is still looking good today. We're at 99.5 on day 12 with 54% humidity. So I'll probably add a little water later this afternoon. But our eggs are still just rocking and rolling and, sitting in their rotator. So it's moving them back and forth. But they're looking good. Okay, so let's take a look at our plastic eggs and check on our embryo development. So remember, this was day 8. And day 8, he has his feather tracts growing, where his feathers will be. And on day 9, it's very interesting, he's actually starting to look like a little chicken. So he's got his feet, you can really see his beak, his wings are forming. So he's actually looking like a chicken. So day 9, so we're not quite halfway there, but we are really close. Tomorrow or Saturday will be kind of the halfway point. So it goes so fast. I mean, that 21 days is quick. Okay, so now we know we've seen our incubation and our incubator's sitting really good and our embryo is really growing. So day 9, it's growing a lot. So now we're going to go ahead and take a paper towel and take some of these eggs and wipe off some of the extra food coloring. I've already got, food colored hands, but that's okay. So we'll take our eggs, and remember these are just hard-boiled eggs. So we're gonna take our egg and we're gonna crack it. So now it's got cracks in it, but I wiped off all the extra food coloring, right? So how do you think the food coloring gets in there? Or did it get in there? Or is our egg going to be white? Usually hard-boiled eggs, when we eat them, they're just white. But if you'll look at this one, can you see the little dots? So on our eggshells, if you were to take a microscope and look really closely, there are little bitty tiny microscopic holes. So that's why there's so many dots on our hard-boiled eggs. So this was a brown egg. So it might have came from, our Rhode Island Red or one of those other chickens that lays a cream or a light brown egg. But let's see one of our white eggs, if it does the same thing. Let me wipe off some of that extras, but let's look if our white egg did the same thing. And it really seeped through on it. Goodness gracious. Look at all that color on that egg. So it really seeped through on this egg. See all those dots though? You can see on this side, all the dots. So all those little pores are what let the oxygen in. So the pores let the oxygen in, the good air, and then when the chick or the embryo breathes and lets that carbon dioxide out, they also let the bad air out. So remember our eggshell, so our hard eggshell, it is that outer coating that keeps all the good stuff in and the bad stuff out. So it helps keep the oxygen in and it lets the carbon dioxide out. So how cool is that? So tomorrow we'll check on our eggs again. We'll look at our incubator and make sure it's still sitting right at that 99.5 and about 55% humidity. And it should be saying day 11 because remember we're counting backwards from day 21. So today was day 12, tomorrow will be day 11. And then we'll also mass our eggs to check on how much they're weighing and see if they're gaining or losing weight and check on our hypothesis. So see y'all tomorrow.